were made of music. I am Usnavi, and you probably never heard my name. Reports of my fame, a great. Hi, y'all. So I am here to talk about the movie Music by Sia. Yep, I'm going there. Some of you may or may not know. I'm guessing most of you that are here looking at the review know that there's been quite a bit of controversy surrounding this movie. My daughter and I, my 8-year-old daughter, went and watched it tonight. My daughter's autistic. All of my children are autistic. I am autistic. Many of my friends and family don't know about my autism. Some of them do, some of them don't. I found out about 4 years ago. I wasn't diagnosed growing up. I've been going through diagnosis through ASU and SARC, a local organization here in Arizona, and I'm participating in some adult with autism research studies. Anyways, the movie. I have what, for some of the people hating on the movie, is going to be an unpopular opinion. I liked it. I loved it. It was a really good movie. It's not a kid movie. It's not a movie about autism, but it does a great job at showing some of the realities of living with autism. Not, can mask and act like normal autism, not the type of autism that I have, not can pull off normal social situations, have a job, take care of yourself, but the type of autism that is out there, the type of nonverbal autism, lives in a residential facility autism, someone that has to be taken care of for their whole life. I have a nonverbal son who's 8 who will likely never not live with me. And when we pass, he's going to live with one of his siblings that also has autism, but that are going to live a more normal life than he does. There's a chance he'll live a more functional life than I think he will right now, but it's very unlikely, and that's just a mama, holding out a lot of hope, really. So this movie really hit home for me. It reminded me a lot of my son Brent, and also another beautiful autistic soul I know named Ben. The character really reminded me of a mix between two of them, because that's a statement that you always hear about autism is, when you know one person with autism, you know one person with autism. That's part of why all these people coming out with all this hate against the movie is, so frustrating, is that, a lot of the complaints that I hear people saying shows they've clearly never truly interacted with someone with nonverbal autism. They've never taken the time to get to know the other side of the spectrum from what they do. So let's talk about the haters real quick. The haters are really autistic people who are higher functioning, who take certain issues. First, I'll talk about the movie, and then I'll talk about some of the complaints and what about it. I'm not going to do any spoilers specifically about the stuff that I talk about. I'm going to put a clip at the end with my daughter. I got her quick opinion on it on video. She does have some spoilers. So warning, if you get to my daughter's part of it and you don't want to spoil it before you watch it, stop the video. But the movie was really good. Like I said, it's not like a kid movie, but I watched it with my 8-year-old daughter who is autistic, and it was fine. I warned her ahead of time there was going to be some drugs use in it, and some, questionable things, and she was prepared, and she did just fine with it. There wasn't anything more questionable in it than you see in bad commercials. But, if you don't want your kids exposed to drug use or someone being drunk or, selling drugs, this isn't the movie for you. And again, like I said, Sia with this movie it's not a movie about autism. There's simply a main autistic character, one of the main protagonists has autism. She wasn't the only main character. She was one of 3 main characters, and then there was other main characters that kind of, worked around them too. And it was a very well put together movie, and I appreciate so much that she was willing to have one of those characters be autistic, be mainly nonverbal, be someone that could represent and show what life is like for many of us, having to take care of them. And one of the concerns, it specifically deals with what happens when a main caregiver of someone with autism who's going to be living with someone for a long time passes away. It highlights those issues that you have to deal with, the damage of not having a will, of not having savings for them, of not having a plan to who they're going to go with. The fact that they might get institutionalized if you don't take proper measures, and sometimes that's what's best. It really depends on your unique situation. And Sia wasn't afraid to go there with it and to, highlight some of these issues. So like I said, I really appreciated the movie and liked it. On to some of the complaints and addressing them. One complaint I saw was talking about the communication device. This complaint was a real doozy, saying, the communication device only had yes or no. The person clearly hadn't seen the movie. They'd seen a clip that maybe showed it. The communication device that they use in the movie does not only have yes or no. They only showed, I think, 5 or 6 different communication options on the device, on the app. But in the comment that I watched, this person was like, most communication apps have up to 5,000 words and yada, yada, yada. You clearly have never used a communication app. You've never been around someone with nonverbal having to teach them how to use one. And that person that wrote that comment was clearly uneducated on the issues with being nonverbal. Like with my son and with a lot of other people with it, especially with, who is very affected by their autism, you can't just give them a communication device with a ton of different options. They'll get overwhelmed and they won't use it. It's just a fact. And especially when you first introduce it to him, which he was showing it, he was teaching her how to use it. So that, implied that she was just starting to use it. If you throw at a nonverbal person a device with a ton of different options, and you don't keep it small at first when you're teaching them, they're never going to learn to use it. Like they're not, it's overwhelming, it's too much, it's confusing. You have to keep the options smaller and then you build on that. So that complaint was just ridiculous. Other complaints is she didn't use an autistic person. She tried to cast an autistic person first. It didn't work out, and it sounds like it didn't work out during filming, and that they left on good terms. Her having to recast it in the middle of filming, is not an easy thing, is a difficult task. And I had read some other comments, and someone's response to that is, saying that it should only be played by an autistic person. You could argue using that same argument that an autistic person can never play a neurotypical part. And I agree with that. I have no issue with someone that's neurotypical playing an autistic role. At least they're representing it better than, say, Rain Man or, the other ones that are out there. Or even, I've watched Good Doctor. I know some people really like that show. I stopped watching it just because it felt too unreal to me. But it might have been more in line with other autistic people and the way they felt like they feel. It just didn't hit home for me. Other complaints about, there's so many big sensory things. The music scenes were amazing. They were awesome. And they were like, a lot of autistics are overwhelmed by sensory stuff, and that just wouldn't be for them. Well, she didn't make this movie specifically for autistic people. So, that argument goes. And then also something about autism, when you have sensory issues, you don't just sensory avoid, you also sensory seek. My children are big, we have a climbing wall behind me, 2 crash pads, there's a slide over there, and this is in my front living room when you walk into my house. because my children are sensory seekers. We have a swing in the other room. We have all sorts of things, sensory stuff, because they're sensory seekers and they need to get that feedback. So the scenes, I love bright noises. I love sounds. The music was great. I loved all the music scenes. They were my daughter's favorite. And, her art was beautiful. Music is her art. Music always touches me and is close to my heart. And I thought she did a great job with that. And, if you can't handle bright, scenes and stuff like that, don't watch the movie. If you're that overwhelmed by bright colored stuff, you're probably not watching that many movies like that. And it just seemed a silly argument to me. The other complaints, prone restraint. There were 2 prone restraints in the movie. Calling them restraints, when I've actually had to do restraints many times, seems pushing it a little. These were not really restraints. They were on their knees, not sitting on her. They were on their knees over her waist, which is appropriate if you're doing this kind of thing. And they were putting their hands on her arms to help calm her down. It's not an inappropriate way to do it. They weren't laying on her, which is misrepresented in the complaints about it, saying that they're laying on her. And yes, prone restraint done wrong can be damaging. Any restraint done wrong can cause damage. You can break someone's arm, you can dislocate shoulders. We commonly use a basket hold, but my son's getting really big and he has really strong legs, and a basket hold might not continue to work. It's just, and people are acting like, this is going to cause issues, and people hurting people with autism and thinking prone restraint is okay. Like, people are not coming to this movie about a drug dealer on probation being like, I'm going to learn how to restrain an autistic person from this movie. And acting like they are is just dumb. Let's call it what it is. Other complaints. Oh, there was one statement in the movie that I didn't love when I heard it. Just one. The main male character was saying, it's not that she doesn't want to change, she can't change. I get what they're meaning. They're meaning that it's not about her desire to be different. She is who she is. She can't be someone other than who she is. But people with autism, even severe autism, can and do change and can go through therapies or just regular existence and often change and evolve. So that one was a little meh for me, but I get it. I get what they were meaning, and in the context of it all, it really wasn't that bad. So I'm sure I'm going to get a whole group of autistic people that really don't agree with my opinion. And if they come across my video, I'm probably going to get hate on it and people arguing in the comments. Wouldn't be the first time. I've had people attack us for the business I choose to make money. I've had people call me an effing autism mom because I had made a post and they assumed that I wasn't autistic and that I was somehow using my autistic child. But me being autistic, I shouldn't have to hide that, which is also why I did the whole name Autism Closet, because people like to shove you in a closet, whether they have autism or not. People don't always like the truth and they can't handle it. Also, the group that takes issue with this movie, I might be making some assumptions, but I'm guessing they're the same people that hate Autism Speaks, hate ABA, hate the puzzle piece. I've got a video on my page about the puzzle piece if you want to go watch that and see my opinion on it. But it is not a group that is representative of the entire autism community. There is not one autism community like people might like you to think. They are in some ways, two different autism communities and many more breakout communities within that. But yeah, I just wanted to share with you all my opinion, let you know how I liked the movie, which it was great. I loved it. Thank you, Sia, so much for making a movie that actually shows the reality for some of us and introduces people to what life can be like and what some of the struggles are and doesn't shy away from it. Much love to you all. Mwah. Bye. Okay, Elliot. So what did you think about the movie we just went and saw?
My favorite part was about the popcorn, Sprite, and the
The Slurpees?
Yeah, that was my favorite part. And the worst part was about, not really a worst part, but when it was over, I wanted to watch more.
What did you think about the movie?
Cool. Pretty cool.
Were there any parts that upset you?
What's new parts?
Were there any parts that upset you?
Can I tell them about the, like,
Tell them whatever.
when the jet friends? Okay.
No, Bubba, turn the light back on. Hey, you're naked. Okay, so were there parts of the movie that upset you?
It's about a dad pushed him and he died.
That was really sad.
Yeah. And the best part is about the girl, like the boys with pink balls on, and a girl when they fell and it was all pink color. That's my favorite part.
Good. Anything else about the movie you want to say?
Best movie ever, girls' night. I like.